Welcome to the program today. Mondo Gonzales here in studio, and I have with me Omri all the way from the land of Israel, which we all love. And we're going to be talking about a project that I've been following at least for 20 years, and it is the Temple Mount Sifting Project. And this particular project has, from an archaeological perspective, has done tremendous for understanding the biblical archaeology, not only of Israel, but Jerusalem very particular. And we're going to get to the background of that. And one of the things that's happening there within this project is, as all things are, every project is looking for ways for people to help. I mean, they've had over 250,000 volunteers that have come and participated in the project as well. And we're just going to kind of unpack it and see where it's been, what it's doing, and where it's going. So, Omri, welcome.
Thank you, Mondo. Thank you so much for having me.
So, for those
Pleasure.
that might not know much about this project, let's talk about where it is, when did it begin, and all the kind of even there's some politics surrounding kind
Oh,
of the beginning of it, but also some brilliance as well. So, kind of give us a rundown.
sure. So the actual event took place in '99. The Waqf, the Muslim organization, that sort of like have sovereignty over Temple Mount. They excavated some 5,000 tons of soil from underneath the mountain. It wasn't sanctioned. It wasn't something that there any permission. It was done over one night. I think it was something like 400 loads of trucks, yeah, of dirt, just digging them out. And they got thrown outside of Jerusalem in the Kidron Valley, next to the Kidron River, which is not really a big river. It's something like very narrow at that point. It was just dumped there. I want to say it was kind of like even divorced from its origins, right? If you think about it, in Temple Mount, there's been no archaeological work ever, right? You would think that if you come with a toothbrush to dig, it would be not delicate enough. And think about the boulders that, they were just ramping everything and putting it on the cement trailers and then just dumping it. Nobody did anything and nobody knew about it. Until two archaeologists, Zaki Dvir and Dr. Barkai, he was his professor at the time, they got word of, maybe stuff, stored from Temple Mount has been removed. So they went in and took a few buckets and sifted them, and they found, I think it was 2 or 3 coins, and there was like, this is the real deal, right? As an archaeologist, I think that you probably don't, digging Temple Mount would be, the epitome of your work. And there you are looking at 5,000 tons is like a big pile. And what's in it? So they went to get the certificate that they need from the Israeli Antiquity authority to get the license to sift through that, and they did. And ever since then, they've been sifting for the past 21 years through that. I think they've sifted more than 4,000 tons. And like you said, it's an open sifting, it's a wet sifting, it's a method that they've perfected, right? Think about like Indiana Jones with a net. You pull a bucket and then you spray water on. It really helps you to look at every minute artifact with the water. And how do you do it? How do you get 5,000 tons of soil sifted? You got a lot of manpower. So what they did is they opened it to the public, and I think it's the largest archaeologist sifting project in the world. Like you said, more than 250,000 of volunteers have come to sift. I don't know if you've done it. I've done it. It's an experience of a lifetime. Like, usually people tell you don't touch history. You're not allowed. They tell you go touch, sift, and even I mean, everybody gets excited. And for most of the part, you'll find something. I did it 3 times. At one time with Dr. Price, we found a coin. And I would imagine that, they found, and they were so excited about it. Of course, I was. And then we went another couple of times, and we found figurines, we found metals, we found pieces of mosaic. So it's astonishing. I think overall they found more than 600,000 artifacts to date. It's an NGO, right? And they live off of government funding and donations. And you would think that, at least I would, not being into like archaeology, that the sifting is the hardest work with element, and actually it's not. It's the cataloging. It's making sure that what you find, you can document it and you can catalog it before you can display it.
Mm-hmm.
Couple that with the fact that everything was in a rubble, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what comes first, right? There's no layers, right? You can't know. Okay, so we dug the first layer, the second layer. Everything has been dug and thrown. So they had to figure out a way, a very statistical and analytical way, to date the findings. So they would go and look at things that were around the place, so they can let's identify, let's say, pottery parts, and
Mm-hmm.
see the way it's closed, the way it's sealed, the way it's been engraved, and then okay, so we know that that's been for a specific year. So what we find now is from that time. So they had to really figure out. Other stuff was easy to date, right? You can see names, you can see sometimes dates. So that was easier to. And I think it was the first time you can really validate that Temple Mount existed. I mean, we all believe it, but not everybody does. The
Right.
narrative is definitely not, and that's the way to verify that Temple Mount was there, and also to verify the biblical stories. And that's astonishing. And we have partnered with them. I think about 6, 7 months ago. We wanted to find a way to sort of like help them keep on doing what they're doing, and also commercialize the leftover soil. The soil is so important to so many people around the world. And for the better part of it, it was just, dumped. It was used for landscaping, dumped into, because you have to, what are we going to do with all the waste, right? And actually, the idea of what we do now came from my partner, Giora, which, I mean, he's a friend and a business partner. We've been working together for the past, I don't know, 12, 13 years. He established a company in the tourism industry, and he called up for me and my partner to help him with the tech. And then we partnered with him, and then we also, as a VC, invested in him in another venture that he did. And then he's just, when he sold that, he started, reading about Jerusalem, and then he found out about the Sifting Project, which surprisingly, not, I would say, I don't know, 90% of the people in Israel don't know about the Sifting Project. Nobody that I spoke to in Israel knows about the Sifting Project. When I speak to people outside, yeah, they know it. They've been there. It's ridiculous to me. But anyway, so we started talking to them, and it took us 4.5 years to convince them to partner with us. And when they decided that they will do it, we dropped everything. He dropped what he was doing. I dropped what I was doing. I was a VC, business development. And for some reason, which now I know why, but just like it called me. I remember at a conversation I had with my wife, and like I told her, listen, this is what I want to do. I mean, I want to. And she's like, I mean, up to you. Do what feels right, right? I mean, you don't want to do what you're doing right now. You need to be happy first. But why? So I don't know. I just don't know. I think over the time, I've got my own, like, I think I've found some sort of, soul in the soil, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Even understanding how important Temple Mount is, all the history, the fact that it was there, the fact that we were, there at the beginning, kind of like gives meaning to everything.
Yeah, there's so much history of the Temple Mount. I mean, obviously going way back to the time of David, and even 3000 BC, or I mean 3000 years ago. And so you're like, okay, what I find fascinating is, as you said, there's from a historical perspective of archaeology, you have Charles Warren and you have others that were digging kind of around and in, late
Mm.
1800s.
Yeah.
And but the idea of the maybe this isn't a good word, but in the sense of an idiom, the mecca of archaeology would be the Temple Mount, right? And yet to have no real archaeological excavations there, I find it as well, I don't know, poetic justice in the sense of what the Palestinians were doing there in secretly taking all this dirt out. And as we know, they deny often the historicity of the biblical account of Jerusalem and the Temple Mount specifically. Nothing there, and Yasser Arafat, no, there's no temple. And then, but yet they take all this dirt out in the middle of the night, and then yet here 600,000 objects, turning that whole narrative upside down. And
Yes.
so to have stuff come directly from inside those walls, I mean, people know that the Temple Mount, 37 acres, to have stuff come from inside there is, granted, it's not in a stratigraphy, perspective, but something's better than nothing. And to have that, what a story. What an absolute amazing story.
Yeah. A blessing in disguise, right? I
Mhm.
mean, at the beginning it was like, oh my God, what have they done? They've actually built a mosque underneath that,
Mhm.
right? It was an underground mosque, and again, it's not even geopolitical. It's not. It's just about the history. And there we are. We now know more about the Temple Mount than we ever imagined we will. I think but they've unearthed even the floors, right? Even the mosaics of
Mhm.
Temple Mount. They were able, by the Mishnah, description and an amazing um, um, computer algorithm, to figure out the tiles. And there we are. We know how how it looks. And as it happens, and again, I'm not an archaeology expert, but the courtyard was a mosaic, very very prestigious mosaic, because we just had one temple, right? We
Mhm.
didn't have temple at each town, so everything was poured into one temple. That's why it was so invested in. So even the floor outside the courtyard was in special mosaics, and you can see, yeah, found seals with names, really verifying the biblical stories. And like you said, the Mecca of, I sort of like look at it as the origin of faith,
Mhm.
right? That's where it all started
Yep.
for Jews, for Christians, and it's astonishing. So at the end of the day, if you look at it, it's a blessing in disguise, and finding shekels and everything around that just like tells the stories.
Mhm.
So it's amazing to see that.
And the project itself, I mean, started in 2004. So again, it's like you said, it's been going on for 20 some years. And have they gone through all of the remains of the dirt?
No, they have not. I think they've got something around 1,500 tons still that
Still.
they look into sifting. Yes, yeah. We've actually helped, take it from, of course you can't, handle 5,000 tons. It was 5,700 tons at one time. So they had to bury it in secret places. And we've helped them, funded excavation, re-excavation, bringing it back again to the site to have it sifted. And please God, with the war ending, we'll have more tourists coming back into Israel, and then continue all this sifting. And as there was, as on top of the fact that we help them, we donate to the project. From every proceeds, from every sale that we make, proceeds go back to the sifting project. We also bring a lot of tour groups back into the sifting project. Just today, we had a group of 120 people sign up for December to come in.
Oh, yeah.
120. It's a lot. So we want to see that coming, we want to see that rolling, helping unearth more findings. And once they do that, they need to catalog it. And in my mind, I like envision, when you go to museums all across the world, you see there's always going to be something about the pyramids, right? You can
Mhm.
all see the pyramids there. Why don't we have, shows about Temple Mount?
Mhm.
I want to see that coming, and
Yeah.
and and we'll have that, and they will be able to, and that's something that everybody should know. It's history.
Yeah.
Whether you Christian, you're Jew, you're Muslim, it's history.
It's
Just acknowledge the fact that it's in awe to what was before us. Gives a lot of meaning.
couple weeks ago, I was in Greece. I went to Egypt. I was in Turkey, and I was leading a group, and we were looking, of course, as you do. You look at these various archaeological sites, and ruins here and ruins there, and of course, we were in the city of Ephesus, which of course is very grand. But it's common in archaeology where, and I know Israel is the same, where you go there and you see all this, and there's always the same question from people that are newer, or they're just thinking, and they'll say, maybe the guide, or will say something to the effect of, well, in this location, it's only 5% excavated. And they're like,
Mm.
what 5%?
Yeah.
And I think Ephesus was maybe 20%. It was very small. But most places are under 10. And but the person says, why isn't this excavated? And I go, well, there's several reasons. But first and foremost is money, is resources. It takes money to lead an archaeological excavation with volunteers and a whole bunch of other things, from all the way from the beginning, all the way through publishing your material, and of course cataloging everything for the rest of the year. Because I tell people, normally, when I've been in Israel and I've participated in excavations, you might go 6 to 8 weeks, and they go, "That's it." I go, "Yeah, it takes a long time for the rest of the
It's,
year to catalog everything." But so in this sense, the key is, and this is where I think it's important for us to share, is that, again, when you go to most archaeological excavations, they you go talk to the director, and they'll be like, "Well, okay, this is how much resources we have to do this. We can handle 100 volunteers, or 200 or whatever." But at the end of the day, I go, "Look, if you want the other 80% to be excavated, it takes resources. It just takes planning." And so, in the same way, I think about this particular project, which I'm not sure if there is it definitely, I could easily say, just from my opinion, which might not mean anything, but this is one of the top 5 projects ever in the history of Jerusalem, for sure, and specifically the Temple Mount. Um, and yet, so the goal and this, I want to ask you about this, is, that's why I asked, is it done? No, it's not done. And
it's,
so, talk about, again, this is a project that, of course, needs resources like every other project. This isn't new. So, talk about how people can participate. Number one, they can be volunteers still, but then
they can come.
talk about the new project, which is going to help people support what's happening.
Yeah. So first of all, yes, you can always come and participate in the digging, but not everybody can, take the trip to Israel, participate in that digging. What we've done is we've taken that soil that, 100% clean from artifacts, and we've bottled it, and we've packaged it in beautiful keepsakes. So in my opinion, what we do is we celebrate, we commemorate, the history of Temple Mount, but it also gives people around the world the chance to own a piece of that in their, in your home. And we've known from our customers that it really generates an enormous emotion. It really helps you feel like you're there. So like today, with the digital age, when everything is now, just 2 seconds and it's gone, right?
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
seen the video and it's gone. Holding a piece of that in your hands, putting something in your home, that you can always come and see and look, it is amazing. We take a lot of respect to what we do. So we've actually numbered every piece that we make. It comes with a certificate, authenticity certificate. It's numbered and it's signed by the NGO. And it also comes with a booklet that tells the story of Temple Mount and the findings. But I think what's even more important is that once you get it, you can go online and register it under your name. So it becomes an asset that you keep, that you sort of like, start a legacy, start a way that you can pass it from generation to generation, because it becomes something that you own. And you got to realize that there's never going to be any more excavation in Temple Mount. It's now a specified, punishable with a minimum 7 years offense in jail.
Oh, wow.
You can't. Yeah, it's after what happened. It was a big deal around that. So it's rare and it's limited. It's not going to happen again. And the fact that you can own a piece of that in your home speaks volumes. And we know how people are. They get emotional about it. Some tell us that when they read the Bible, they feel connected to Scripture. If you hold it in your hands, it is amazing. Because from on top of how we help them as we donate to them, from every sale that we make, we donate an extra portion. So when someone buys the product, you know that you're helping to support that. You support Israel, you support Jerusalem, you support that unearthing activities, and that's gonna be remembered for generations to come. So we look at the past, we're living in the present, but we also look at the future with that. I think that really creates a special experience.
Well, I've been to Israel 7 times and led many groups there, and we have another group. I'm gonna be there in May of 26, and then January of 27. So I'm planning on being there again. But one of the things that I have seen, even in my own life, but also with every group that we take, is oftentimes, especially maybe we'll go to the Elah Valley, with the story of
Mm.
David and Goliath, and we'll be right there in the brook, and I'll say, hey, grab a stone. These are one of the stones that he didn't grab. Okay, but
Yeah.
you could write on there, and you could take a piece of Israel back home with you, and that's pretty amazing. Where you can do that again in the Elah Valley, but to be able to have a piece of the heart. I mean, we're talking, the heart of Israel is Jerusalem, and the heart of Jerusalem is the Temple Mount. There's no doubt in Scripture that is the case, and I'm
Yeah.
reminded of in the book of Second Kings where Naaman the Syrian, and we know his story where he got healed in the waters of the Jordan River, um, but he asked, well, can I take some dirt with me? And so the prophet was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So he takes some dirt with him because he realized that the gratitude that he had for what God had done for him and healing him, and he loads up some dirt and he takes it back to Syria. And so I thought, man, what an interesting story that here you have, and not only if people aren't able to go there, but no matter what, unless you were up on the Temple Mount and you scraped some a rock or something on there, here's a
Yeah.
something that is underneath, comes from underneath, again, ancient history. I find it just absolutely phenomenal that people have a connection. That's why they take the rocks from Elah Valley, or they'll take some pottery from some other place that's just on the ground. I mean, there's pottery
Yeah.
everywhere, as you know, on these sites, and it's legal to do that, but because there's so much of that. But
Yeah.
this is I find it very unique and special.
It is. I mean, even if you look at the verb from Psalm 102, like for your servants hold their stones dear and have and cherish her dust. It's not just there. It's there for a reason. It's a way to keep that. It's a way to have that connection always with you physically. And really, we you've seen the products, right? Seen
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
the,
they're
the
beautiful,
products themselves.
phenomenal, beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. I have them with me now. Is it okay to show it? Sorry.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, we have this what we call the classic box, and when you open it, it really, you can see the bottle. I don't know if you can see it. You can see that even the color of the soil is different. It's gray. It's due to the burning down specifically of the second temple. The temperatures were really high. So even the color is different. So we have that you can keep on your desk, and we have a necklace and that you can wear with you, whether it's a pendant or a locket. And people really respond well to that. They really like it. We've been working with some of the largest donor organizations, and they use it as a donor gift, right?
Mhm.
What are you going to give to a donor that has donated a lot of money? It's not about money again, right? You need to give something special, and what more special can you give than a piece of that place to sort of resonate and with an affinity to the cause of supporting Israel, of blessing Israel. So
Yeah.
that's
To me, it's I know we've been meaning to talk for a while, and then through scheduling and everything else has kind of been conflicted. But um, when Dr. Randall Price had talked to us about it, and we were like, well, what's the background, and so his what is his connection to everything going on?
so. First of all, you know him. Dr. Price is a renowned archaeologist. He has had, I think he visited Israel for more than 150 times.
Yeah.
That just by itself, that says a lot. He's been part of a lot of excavation. He's also helped with the Sifting Project. And when we started the project, we wanted to make sure that we have everything right. The way that we handle, the way that we present the product, the way that we communicate. And we've been introduced to Dr. Price, and we've asked him to join our board just to help us sort of get the story right. So on one hand, we got the authenticity from the NGO, but we also wanted someone to help us with the theological story,
Mhm.
with how we present it, making sure we tell the story right. It is not just a product that you buy off a store.
Mhm.
It has, I would like people to first hear the story and then get the product. It doesn't come without the story. The story is more important then. And this is why with every product you get a booklet with everything inside describing it, and we're now making it bigger, and we're filming a lot of what we do so that people can really see the entire story of how it all began, started from there are, by the way, footage of the initial excavation, even through the packaging that we do. We working with a special factory that is employing people with disabilities. We wanted to do from the get-go. We wanted to do good with this project.
Mhm.
Both Kio and myself, we've been around, we've been into tech, we've done business. This is something for the heart. So we wanted it from the get-go to do as much good as we can around it.
Yeah. So how do people find out more about it?
So easy. You can go online to www.templemountsoil.com and easily you can purchase one of the products. We've got a warehouse in the US, so everything ships from Dallas, arrives quickly. Easy, just like that. You can go on the website, get it. Easy as that.
Yeah. Again, I just remind people that for those that love Israel, which there are many, and who love the land of Israel, the people of Israel, and the history, no doubt, it goes back to the biblical history, but yet many people will never get the chance or the opportunity to go, at least at this time, um, but they still want a connection. To me, I just encourage you to check it out, and templemountssoil.com, and to me, I find it fascinating. I think again, I know the connection because I see it every time we take a group, and there's
Yeah,
something about coming back home to the United States with with a tangible piece of the land of Israel.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. Even for me, as I explained, just touching it, feeling it, it something it changes something. You can like literally feel the history. And you can go onto the Sifting Project website also to see all the findings. Um, Soon enough, we'll have a section with a lot of content. Dr. Price is helping us a lot with his content. We want to educate people. We want to show what's been done. We want to keep on that work. And so we'll have something that also goes and sort of like a show that tells the origin of faith, the beginning of the mountain.
Yeah.
Um, I want to find a way that we can, connect Christians and Jews around the temple, around the biblical stories. Take the stories, match them with the artifacts, with the archaeological facts, and then understand through that how everything has begun. To me, this is really the origin of faith,
Yeah.
that place.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been again 6,000 coins, pottery, bulla vessels, you name it. Everything you can, every type of really artifact that can be found in an archaeological context was pulled right out of there.
Yeah,
And it's the heart of the story of the entire Bible. It's the place, as we see over and over, 800 times Jerusalem appears in the Bible, and it's the
yeah,
heart of everything. And so,
yeah.
again, TempleMountSoil.com. Check it out. Omer, any final words for us?
But well, thank you for having me. Been waiting for this a long time. Um, just appreciate the fact that you are letting us speak about it. And if people want to support us, if people want to support Israel, bless Israel. I think this is a really unique way to do it while gifting yourself something that will never be repeated again.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, Christmas is coming. This would be a great gift
Mm,
gift for somebody. Again, I have you were gracious enough to send me the different things, and the different
yep,
packages basically, and they're just
yep,
beautiful. They're very beautiful.
yeah.
So, well, thanks for joining us all the way from Israel, and thank you everybody else for watching today. Again, what I appreciate so much is that, as always, the Bible is showing itself to be true. It's not a made up book. It's very historical. Archaeological shows it to be the case. And again, every time it's the phrase, every time you dig somewhere in Israel, put in a road or anything else, out something pops, which correlates from biblical history. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.